In this installment of the Data Allocation 100 Quick Start series, we're going to be embedding our test data allocation inside a Java test automation framework. The goal of this session is that by the end you will be able to integrate data allocation into a Java automation framework. This is so you can expose the full power of data allocation to your framework of finding, making and allocating data to automated test cases. The way this works is that you can use the test data allocation engine to specify the test data required against the vast array of data sources. You can embed this inside your Selenium code to reference these test data allocation pools. When you run your automation, just in time on the fly, it will go away and make, find and allocate your test data. This is so when you test your application, you have the right data in the right place at the right time to support your automated test cases. So let's jump in and integrate our data allocation into our automation framework. Okay, so what we're going to be using in this video is the test modeler Java client library. Now, to include this in your project, if you're using Maven, all you need to do is copy in the Maven dependency, and then you have the full power of your Java automation framework linking with our data allocation framework. You'll see on the GitHub page there's a lot of explanation over how to call the various functions and how to retrieve the results, etc. Now, the first thing we obviously need to do here is go in and add this to our pom.xml, and you'll see here that we've added in the Curiosity test modeler library inside here. Now, what we have, if we look here, is a very simple test case, which is going to go through our CRM system and perform a login. And it's then going to go through an opportunities page here, enter a name, an account name, a campaign name, an amount, and then hit save. Now, what we want here is for the account name and the campaign name to come from our backend database. Now, the problem we're facing here is that we're using fixed values, and unfortunately for us, we're hitting problems with our test data for our account name and our campaign name. Now, if we go into our CRM system and take a look and go to the Create Opportunities page, what you'll see here is that an account must exist in our system, otherwise we get an account not found error. And the same is true of the campaign name. So we need to go into the backend data sources here and find our data that we require and embed this inside the test automation as it runs, as we have no reliable way of knowing exactly what accounts and campaigns are going to be present in our backend system at runtime. This is quite a common problem. Now, if you remember in Test Modeler, we set up an allocation pool for our dev environment with two types of tests in here to find an active mail campaign and to find a valid account. Now, what we're going to do firstly here is we are going to tag these test types against our allocation. Now, to do that, what you'll see is that there's a specific tag here where we can assign data allocations to test cases. So we'll come in here and we'll paste in this tag, and what we can do now is we can define our pool, our suite, and our test cases that are linked to this test. So we'll come in here, our pool name is Splendid Dev, as so. So we'll populate that inside our pool name. Our suite name here is Create Leads. And now what we're going to do is assign our groups in here. Now, the first group we have is our campaign active and mail. So we'll add that one in. And the second group that we have here that we're going to consume is our find valid account. And we'll paste that one in as well. Now what we've done here is we've assigned this data allocation, and we said for this test case we're going to consume these two data allocation items from our Create Leads and Splendid Dev allocation pool. The next thing we want to do is pull down values and consume them in our test case when we enter an account name and enter a campaign name. Now, if we come back to our library here and look at the documentation, what you'll see is that there's a method here to get our allocation results. So what we'll do is we'll set up two methods here. The first one is going to give our allocation results for our campaigns, and the second one is going to give our allocation results for our accounts. So now what we need to do is specify our criteria in here. So we've got our pool, we've got our suite, which is true for both of these. So we'll copy these values down. Now where this differs is, for the first one we're going to get the result of our campaigns, and we're going to get a campaign which is active and of type male. So we'll ping that one in. The second one here, we just want to get a valid account. So we'll ping that in there as well. Now we've got two allocation results we can consume in our automated test. The first one here we're going to use is our accounts, and we're going to replace this static value James here, and what we're going to do is we're going to come in here, get our result, and we're going to get our value by column, and the column name, if you remember, was name, and we'll cast this back to a string. Now what you may find here is that you get more than one result, and in that case what you could do is you could come in, you can get all of the data rows and iterate over a list, or you may want to get all of the values via a column as well, which is also possible. But here we're just returning one entity, so we're just going to get that one value that's returned. The second piece here is our campaigns, and again we're going to get our value by column, and our column name was name. Again, if we have multiple return columns, all we need to do is separate them and specify the name of the column in our key value pair that we want to retrieve. Now we have this test case set up to fully use our data allocation library. Now one final point that's worth mentioning here is what we have done is in our testng base class we have added this functionality, added this function of code here, which is going to go in and perform our allocations inside our library. So you'll see here it's going through setting up our connection profiles. We need to enter our host and API key here. It's collecting all of the allocation types, then it's going through and crucially performing our allocations and our resolves at the end. So exactly the same as what we did in Test Modeler, hitting that run button. This time it's going to do it inside our test automation framework to go and resolve those allocation pools. Let's take a look at a demo of it running. Now what we're going to do here is we're going to come in and we're going to run our test. We'll just right click run here. We could run this from our CI infrastructure if we wish, but here we'll run it from the IDE. We'll hit run, we'll open this up, and we're just going to navigate to our automation server here as well. And what we'll see is that this has spun up a new job here to go away and resolve the data. We'll see in our automation framework this is now complete, and it's now going to go away and execute our automated test with that test data that has been resolved just in time on our server. And we'll see there as it went through, it plugged in that data which has been resolved through our data allocation process. Thanks for watching this video. Any questions, please email james.walker@curiosity.software.